So thanks everyone for coming along to this workshop today. I hope you all find it useful. As you probably guessed, it's about behaviour change and how we can change our behaviour or help people to change their behaviour to become healthier and happier, hopefully, as well. So it was really nice to see in the intro chats this morning that it was touched on quite a lot. I know that Dr. Gladwin Fields touched on behaviour change and how it's something that GPs struggle to fit into their 10 minutes. So hopefully, as people who work and live in Rossendale, we can take a bit of the responsibility of that and help others and help ourselves to create some behaviour change. So, there we go. A quick intro. So, behaviour change has been something that's come to the forefront of the news a lot lately in terms of changing how we function socially, wearing masks, hand washing, all those kind of things. But way before that, we've always been advised on how to behave in terms of exercising, what we eat, what we drink. So yeah, it's something that's quite difficult. It's something that we all kind of grapple with, and a lot of us will work with people who are struggling to make those changes to their behaviour. So what I'm going to do today is talk through something that's called the behaviour change wheel, which is really nice. It's a theory, but it's kind of a synthesis of all the behaviour change theories. So if there's one that you want to get your head around, this is a good one because it includes aspects of them all. So it's really simple. I'm going to talk through it with you, and then hopefully we might chat about some examples that we've experienced in terms of behaviour change and how these fit into the model that we're going to talk about. So I'm not sure if anyone's come across it before, but this is the behaviour change wheel. Well, this is the innermost circle of it. It actually has a couple of extra circles which kind of relate to the wider changes in terms of like government and legislation and policy and things like that. But for today, just interested on this part of it, which is sometimes called the COMBI, just because of the capability, opportunity, motivation, and how that leads to behaviour change. So this is something that we can use, we can apply to ourselves, or we can help support others with as well. And each of the three components are all very important, because if there's a breakdown in one of these, that means that we aren't able to make the change to our behaviour. So they're all crucial, and they can all work as both barriers or facilitators for us to take part in that behaviour change. So basically, they can be a good thing or a bad thing if they're missing. As you'll see, each of them are split into two different categories. And what I'll do now is I'll talk through each capability, motivation, opportunity, and then we'll have a chat as a group. So the first one, capability, and this one is all about us, so the individual and what they can do to change their behaviour. So a lot of these examples that I'll give are in the area of physical activity, just because that's my background and where I work, but it can be applied to any kind of behaviour change, literally anything. So capability split into physical and psychological. So the physical is all about having the skills and the knowledge to undertake that change to behaviour. So in terms of exercise and how gyms have been opening and closing, lots of them have started to do online classes, but is it something that people understand how to access? So straight away, if you would normally go to a Zumba class every week and that's gone online and you can't access it, straight away that's a barrier and it's something that you're not going to engage with. And then within capability, there's also psychological. So this is all about habits, and anything that involves kind of engaging your brain or your kind of psyche is all about psychological capability. So making a habit. So for example, getting up 10 minutes before work every day and having a quick walk, that is something that you put into your day, your daily routine, and you'll change your behaviour as a result. Next one is opportunity, and that's all about others. So if you're hoping to use this models to help people that you might work with, or to support somebody in your community, this is the one for you. And it's all about how we can give people that opportunity to help change their behaviour. So this is split into social and physical. So social is all about having the social opportunity to undertake a behaviour. So if you're helping somebody kind of get fit or lose a bit of weight, saying every week we'll go for a walk, or every week we'll go to a class together, or whatever it is, but just having that support of somebody else is crucial. And also, I think having the if say you're kind of in a routine with somebody where you'll do that, it's really, really helpful. Social can also fit into that support system that you have around you. So if you're living with somebody else, or you're very close with somebody who is kind of trying to undertake a behaviour, if you could provide support. So for example, if you're kind of living with someone who's on a diet or whatever, and you support them in that, it just goes such a long way to help them change their behaviour. And then physical is all about people having that physical equipment that they need. So having the equipment to work out, or having a pair of trainers, or whatever it is, but having that physical, tangible object that helps you change your behaviour. And then the last one is motivation, and that's back onto us as an individual. It's split into automatic and reflective. So automatic is all about the emotions and the impulses. So straight away when we think of something, what is it that we think? Exercise and being physically active, is that something that we associate with being positive, or do we perhaps think it's boring and not fun? So just about changing those perceptions, really. And then the next type is reflective. So this is all about when you're kind of weighing up that decision. So should I get up 10 minutes early, or should I have an extra 10 minutes in bed when it's pitch black and it's freezing cold? It's just about making that decision about your behaviour, really, or helping somebody else with that. So that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour, really, of the COM-B model. And I just wondered if we kind of wanted to have a bit of a chat about a time that you've helped somebody change a behaviour to be more positive, or a time when you've changed a behaviour yourself. Just so it could be a bit more, want everyone to get involved if that's what you'd like to do.
Well, I'll start if you like. Two friends and myself used to go on very regular walks, and it really worked well. We had a set time every week, 2 or 3 times a week actually, and they've moved away now, both gone to live on Skye actually, with a really healthy lifestyle up there, I think. But for me, that's where the social part of it is really important. I mean, I can still go for a walk on my own, but it's not quite the same, because the interaction was like a bit of girly chat, a bit of catch up, talking about all sorts of things. We weren't all connected through work or anything like that, but we were actually very close neighbours. And I think that is really important, that you've got that the motivation as well, but you've got two people, for me, saying, come on, you are coming, we're doing it, and you sort of drag one another along. So I have missed out on that. And I think walking groups, for me, are probably quite important. And I think we need to get back into that. We can't do things like that at the minute. You can go out with one other person at the minute, but it changes every other week. So you don't know whether you should be with 5 friends or 1 friend or your husband or whatever. But and similarly, with one of those two friends. We did a diet together. We did the Michael Mosley, you know, the GP who does this blood sugar diet. He's been on telly a lot. And that really, really worked for the two of us, because we'd be ringing one another up or Facebooking, whatever, what are you having for breakfast, what are you having, you know, and the support and motivation again. And we gave ourselves a target, and that worked. So it's about linking up, I think. For me, it is, I'll lose it if I've not got somebody else to do it with, I think. That's how I feel anyway.
Definitely. And I think that's something, like you say, that we're all missing at the minute, isn't it? Because it's not as easy now to just arrange that walk or meet people face to face.
My experience is more like on a professional note, because I'm an environmental health officer. So I'm interested in like behaviour change for the better, really. And it's interesting with COVID. I mentioned it in the comments earlier. Excuse me. Rossendale is obviously, people have bonfires and things, but over COVID, because we did a press release right at the start saying it's a respiratory illness, please don't burn, because people are struggling with the breathing. And honestly, the number of bonfires has just fallen to the floor, really. It's amazing, because I think, and I think people understand more the impact of the behaviour on neighbours, and it's having a bit more empathy, and as well, I think, like, because more people are talking to each other, they're dealing with neighbour disputes a bit better themselves, because again, we've put press releases out saying please be more considerate, everyone's working from home and you're all at home more, and I think people are really like not sorting things out a bit more themselves, which is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. It's just I really find behaviour change very interesting personally, and sort of for my job as well, because I want these things to carry on, and I want things to be like antisocial, like bonfires. I want there to be a behaviour change that actually breathing in all those chemicals isn't, you know, a good thing, and it just takes the public to own it and say, and a big percentage to say no, we disagree. And it's quite good seeing environmental health move now. It's like fireworks now are becoming antisocial, I think, and noisy fireworks is definitely a growing public response to saying we shouldn't have noisy fireworks. And I just think brilliant, things change, don't they? And you can hang on to the past and say, oh, fireworks, but they're really antisocial. They're so antisocial, they can't be policed. And I quite like that we have to I like the power of like public, and we have to feed that up a bit. Yeah. I
think that's right, because I'm a counsellor as well. I should perhaps have said that, but I'm here for me today. This is my little workshop, really. But I think if we just tell people not to do something, even you, Lorna, you know, it's not the same as sort of pressure, peer pressure to change when you're doing something antisocial. I mean, and I suppose social media comes into that a lot, doesn't it? There are so many groups now that are really commenting about that. And it's a hard one to police. Like you said, people are jumping in cars and going off with the noisy fireworks from one place to another. So you've just kind of got to get to people's better nature, and we have to have faith in that, don't we? That people want a better place. I mean, listening to all this today just makes me think how many good people there are out there, and what we can tap into, and let the do-gooders take the world over. With Samara's t-shirt, I'm a do-gooder.
It's definitely
the tip of the iceberg. Actually.
It is. I think we've lost a lot of that. I think it's made me think a lot about, you know, what influence you can have as a counsellor, but actually, if you're not dictating and you are trying to sort of work with groups and talk to people on a personal level, I'm sure it's much more effective. But that's another story, being a counsellor.
Because I like that. There's some, I've just thought the word of it, but it's like the wording, like when I think there's some councils, I think, for the people who weren't paying the council tax bill sort of thing or something, wrote a letter saying 95% of people do this.
Yeah.
And it really made the person think, oh, I'm in the minority, do you know, and it makes them behave then. And I think sometimes we need to really get that actually the majority are doing the right thing and put more of that statistic in things. Does that make sense? So that, because, and that sort of behaviour changes more. Because it does get a bit dumbed down a bit sometimes, because the negative people seem to get a lot of...
They get the publicity.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard Jamie's talk earlier, but he was saying about some of the COVID data, how it's all focused around like the negatives, but you never hear about how many people are getting better or being discharged, and it ends up taking over, doesn't it? I know it's important, but I think we all need a bit of good news as well.
But he wasn't even sure if those figures can be publicly released, the ones who've been discharged. They're not out there, so why aren't they? You know, is that contradicting the government's message? And then you get the conspiracy theorists who think there is something bad going on here, don't you? Because we're just fed bad news all the time.
Transparent, I think that's the thing, isn't it? When you're not presenting all of the data or all of the information.
And too much data is confusing.
But when you're only presenting the things that kind of highlight your cause or what you want to what you want to change, then you're not being transparent, and people see through that. People see through the intransparency. That isn't a word.
Yes.
But for me, I feel like motivation is kind of one of the big factors actually with change, and that, like, when you look at the wheel there, that if you have motivation, you can create the opportunities. You can work within capabilities. It's kind of, but it's the motivation that is the one thing that is going to drive anything and everything. And so any change that happens is kind of generally, it's kind of been around, why are we doing that? Why do we want to do that? And if you've got a good reason and an accurate reason, and I think kind of coming back to that conversation we were just having, is that driving a nation on almost fear is not a great motivation to get people to comply, and to actually make positive changes that are going to impact on everybody. You're playing into the hands of conspiracists and all the rest, really. But motivating change is the, I think, the kind of should be right at the centre of that wheel, really, rather than kind of one of the outer.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Paul.
Hi guys, sorry for the late start. You okay?
Yeah.
Hi.
I don't know if you want me to go back a few slides, or I don't know if you've heard of the behaviour change wheel. That's what we were just chatting about. So the different aspects of capability, opportunity and motivation. And then we were just speaking about kind of how we've changed our behaviour, or things that have changed, really. We was mainly speaking about COVID, but this is aimed at anything, really. It comes into all kinds of different aspects of life.
Yeah, I'm quite familiar with the behaviour change wheel. I mean, we're a small project, aren't we? You know, we're all trying to make an impact, but our model is very much a behaviour change model, you know, and you know, I mean, I was right through it this morning. I mean, a lot of our participants, you know, the word the margins of society, you know, and people that are really, really far from the job market, you know, with complex issues, and non-medical participants but have issues, you know. So yeah, you know, we're all about behaviour change, and motivation. You know, where does that come from? You know, I think for me, you know, for anybody that's, you know, got a small project like ours, like any project, you need a good leader. You know, we're a good team around you, and dedicated support staff around that to be able to do that. You know, and for us on the ground, our support workers have lived experiences, so that really works, where they've already been through certain pathways and situations and events in their lives, where, you know, that empathy is naturally there, you know. So, you know, and that's where the motivation comes when you're speaking with individuals or groups, you know, because a lot of the time, you know, with a lot of the guys we work with, they're sick of services, you know, and they're going in and out of services and around these cycles and through all these doors, you know. By the time they get to you, it's like, well, I'm not interested, you know. Because they've been through so many services, but it's work for us because through lived experiences, and when they start sharing their own little stories and little journeys and that, you know, 9 times out of 10 you've got their attention.
It's like peer support, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that fits in with the social part of it as well, like we were saying about, doesn't it? Just having someone who you can talk to and you can rely on for that support, and someone that understands is a big thing with stuff like that, isn't it? Because it's all right, professionals saying just do this or do that, but until you've lived in it, you don't understand, do you?
No.
I mean, we always need people like that, but you know, but we also need the ones that, you know, that have been there, you know, and have done, you know, become assets of the community, you know. So it's rather than promote it, you know, it just looks really attractive to them with that individual. But you know, it's a big wheel list, though, isn't it? You know, when we're talking about psychological, you know, and physical, many of our guys have got huge barriers, you know, the physical side of things can be huge barriers to start with. So we use the platforms, activities, but it's not about the activity, it's about getting them there. So they can start feeling comfortable around other people again. You know, and that starts changing attitudes and behaviors. Also, like, works for itself, you know, even though you've got support workers on the ground.
Yeah.
You know.
Sounds rather like the project I used to be involved in at the greenhouses, you know, in Stubberley. It started out really just volunteers doing a bit of growing plants and stuff, and by the time we'd finished, we realised what they were doing was actually talking to one another about their issues, and the volunteers on the project who didn't have issues were listening to the issues that people did have, and it evolved into a mental health project then, because there was just that trust of talking to somebody who wasn't in authority, who wasn't likely to be, you know, reporting you or sectioning you or anything like that at all, that or grassing you up because you were working and drawing your benefits, you know, anything and everything that they'd come up against in their earlier lives. Kind of just got to a point where you could, like you say, Paul, bring people in who they really did need to engage with the support services, but instead of being sort of ping-ponged over to them by a referral from a doctor or someone, there was that intermediate level in between, which gave them the confidence to open up and talk properly, and with the support of somebody who'd perhaps been through it themselves. And it's the grassroots approach all the time, isn't it, really? But it's labor intensive, isn't it? You know, you need a lot of people support, maybe even just one individual, but that's the community, that's good neighbours and stuff. Like I said this morning, you can't organise everything, you can't make everything official. You know, a lot of it is on just a personal basis, really.
I think it's a great model over there, you know, and I really like Suter.
Yeah,
I remember
she was a brilliant find.
Yeah, I mean, Suter's very much like just leave them alone, you know.
Yeah.
Let them, you know, get on and just communicate, you know, and it's sort of like fix itself.
People find their own level, don't they?
Yeah.
They find someone to engage with and it is on their wavelength, and it just goes from strength to strength then. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what you were saying about the greenhouse projects. If you'd have set that up as a mental health group, then you probably wouldn't have attracted those people, would you?
No,
but because it was something more authentic.
It was come and help us grow. Actually, what we were supposed to be doing was helping the council. They wanted to shut the greenhouses down. They decommissioned the ones in Whitaker Park. There are no greenhouses there now. But when it came to Stubby Lee, they approached a group I was involved in called Bake Up Consortium, who did a lot of greening stuff around the town, and said, would you like to take on these greenhouses? But the deal is that you grow plants for us to plant around the town, because it was costing so much for the council to buy all these plants in. So that's what it was. Would anybody like to come and help us do this? And then we realized that people were talking about all sorts of really, really serious, deep stuff whilst they were potting plants. And it just went on from there, really. And we also got citizens advice involved, doing occasional sessions, and it wasn't formal. It was just Jenny from Citizens Advice is going to be in that greenhouse there if anybody wants a chat, sort of thing. Just to get people into asking for help when they felt they needed it. Yeah, and it's still going. And that was, what was it when I started that? 2009, I think, when we got our first big grant off the lottery. So yeah, good.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to draw the session to a close now, just so you've all got time to head over to your next one. But you've probably all seen it, but just if you've not, this book is what the Behaviour Change Wheel is based around. And if you're interested, I would definitely recommend it. And if you've got any questions or you want to chat anymore, feel free to drop me an email. My name's Rosie and I work for Together an Active Future. So yeah, thank you for coming. It's been lovely to meet you all.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.